This week on the Trews, we're going to be talking about celebrities and politics, obviously because Kanye West has been in the Whitehouse. Let's have a look.
There's infinite amounts of universe and there's alternate universe. So it's very important for
They've put mocking music underneath, dear Kanye. Now, of course, when I see someone in the White House talking about infinite numbers of universes, I think, go get 'em, Tiger. It's the very sort of thing that I go around saying, of course, and I feel some sympathy for Kanye West because of my own involvement in British politics a few years ago. Typically what happens is when somebody gets involved in politics is you're accused of being like a naive ingenue, someone who ain't entitled to be in the world of politics. But, you know, if you take a glance at the man sat across the desk from Kanye there, you will see a celebrity president of the United States of America. So it's certainly not a narrative that has but one conclusion. Now, perhaps what Kanye West would argue is that the reason he's being condemned is because what he is saying is at odds with what the liberal media believes he should be saying, and to a point, he's right. You know, like, progress is going to be weird. Like, aspects of progress, if we're going to radically change the world, at some point ideas that seem bizarre to us now are going to have to be incorporated in the mainstream. You recognise that, don't you? I'm not saying that anything in particular that Kanye West is saying is true, except I love that infinite universes stuff, but unless we want the world to stay the same, the world will have to change. And if we want it to radically change, ideas that seem implausible are going to have to become plausible. Different power structures will have to come into play. So in the end, people that seem eccentric, you know, outside of the circle, are going to have to be listened to. So whilst I don't really have a strong opinion on whether or not Kanye West is right with particular regard to what he's saying, I think he's got every right to say it. I suppose one of the most obvious challenges to his credibility is that much of what he says is at odds with what would be termed the needs of the black community, the beliefs of the black community. Why listen to me, a man with long hair who's a white celebrity, instead of Kehinde Andrews, who is a black man and the professor of black studies at Birmingham University? What's he got to say? Kanye's support for Trump is following in the footsteps of a long line of black conservatives who believe that the key to success for black communities is embracing hard work, individualism, supporting the mythical black family rather than relying on the state. In short, a myth deployed by Protestantism of no particular colour, but generally white in Northern Europe, popularised by Max Weber, the idea that through work we achieve closeness to God. So that's not a racially specific idea, that's just getting the ideas of the individuals that make up the masses to align with the intentions and requirements of the state. But isn't there always an element of emotion in politics, or oughtn't there be? Oughtn't there be an expression of the needs and requirements of ordinary people? Is what we're querying the veracity of what Kanye West is saying rather than his right to say it? Does it make us uncomfortable to see a countercultural figure, i.e. a rapper, sat in that MAGA hat in the office of Donald Trump, sort of agreeing with him and cheerleading for him?
Multiple reports, his own statements, it all makes clear that he has struggled and admitted diagnoses for personal mental health issues.
I bet that bloke there who's saying that now, though, has got mental health issues. I mean, all of us at some point, then we sort of sit slumped, crying somewhere, feeling hopeless and desperate, thinking, oh God, I shouldn't have done that, or what's my value as a person? I mean, if we're going to exclude the mentally ill from public life, you know, with a Winston Churchill, for example. I mean, like, and all of us, frankly, aren't we all a little bit on the edge sometimes? Mental illness is not something that you can attribute to individuals. It's more like a kind of psychic meme that infects us all and travels through all human consciousness. Like, I don't mind seeing people on telly that I don't agree with. I don't know enough about African American history to endorse or oppose what Kanye West is saying. I tell you, generally speaking, I would trust Kehinde Andrews on matters such as race as a sociological professor, but I don't think that Kanye West shouldn't be allowed to say stuff. What is our belief in freedom of speech unless it's just the freedom of speech for people we agree with? And if we find him unsettling, we should look at what it is that's unsettling us. Is it his celebrity? Is it the content of what he's saying? Is it the increasingly obvious fact that politics is a spectacle? All those things are troubling in their way, but they do not culminate in Kanye West. He is merely one aspect of a more broadly abiding phenomenon. Thank you.